Hi, Dan Avance here, Mac Computer Tech, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about some common problems that I run into when I'm working on eMac's, uh, especially the USB 2.0 and the ATI graphic models. This first one, though, can apply to all the models, and that is a battery problem. Sometimes the units will not start up. It'd just be completely dead. And also some symptoms would be, of course, using your time and date, where it just keeps coming up and wants the time and date. So what you do is you pull the little back cover off, and inside you can see the battery in there. It's a 3.6 volt battery. Replace that, and then there's a PMU button down there, a little tiny little black button. You just want to push that in just for about a second. You can use a plastic stick or pencil eraser or something. Just be careful. You only hold it in for about a second. They say if you push it in too long, then it could cause damage to the power management unit. Anyway, if that doesn't take care of your problem, then it could very well be the logic board. Here you're looking at a logic board from the USB 2.0 model, and those six capacitors you see are on the right are bulged, and these aren't leaking, but sometimes they can be leaking, and this can cause problems like freezing or just running real slow. But a lot of times it won't even start up at all. It's just completely dead. So those are 1800 microfarad 6.3 volt capacitors. I usually just get the 10 volt ones just to give it a little bit more protection. And you want to make sure you match the rating on those capacitors. I think they're either HN or HM series, so that's real important. And then also there's two other ones, one next to the battery compartment here, and then there's also another one on the other side that's close to where the IDE and the RAM slots are. Again, they're 1800 microfarad. I use the 10 volt rating instead of the 6.3. And just be careful when you pull these out, not to damage any other. There's some surface mount components on both sides of the board. Sometimes you can, if you aren't careful with your soldering iron, you get too hot, or you can slip and hit one of those, and then you're really in trouble. So just take your time, pull out those capacitors, and sometimes it's kind of hard getting the solder out of the holes where the components go in. So you want to just take your time and use a solder sucker, and again, careful not to get too much heat in there and cause a problem with that. And also, you want to look around at other components to make sure you're careful with those, especially the heat sink. If you move that around and crack the thermal compound that's in there, you're going to have to take the heatsink completely off, and then you'll want to clean off the heatsink and the CPU. Use a black stick or some other type of non-metallic instrument to scrape off that black compound there and get that nice and clean, so that you can make a real good adhesion with the compound. You want to make sure that that's nice and clean, and get then you're going to spread a little bit of compound on there. And there's the CPU. You want to get that nice and clean, scrape off the black compound, and clean it with some alcohol and a swab. Okay, another problem is the down converter board that's connected to the side of the logic board, and this is the board that supplies power to your DVD, your optical drive, and your hard drive. Okay, this particular one here has got a bunch of, I think about six capacitors that are leaking really bad, and I've had it where there's just been one, and that was enough to cause a big problem. It wouldn't boot up at all. So you want to, again, be careful that you match up the components with the proper rating, your temperature rating, and the same microfarad and voltage rating. And This one you also has some hot melt glue that they've put in there to keep the components from moving around. I don't worry too much about that. Mostly after I've repaired them, they're going to sit pretty much in one spot and not be moving around. But it wouldn't hurt to be careful if you want to go ahead and put some more of that back in there to keep them from moving around. These components, sometimes they're a little bit bigger than the ones that you're replacing. I found that you got to sometimes move things around to get them to fit. So I just again, be careful. There is high voltage there, and so whenever you're working inside these units, you want to be sure that you ground out the anode so that you aren't going to have any problems with that. And most of the time it's fine, but you just want to be careful that you ground that out. And so that concludes this video. I hope this has been helpful for you. At least it's this may not be easy, but it's a very inexpensive way to fix an eMac. And so I know I've been real happy to be able to repair a lot of them very inexpensively like this. And so until next time, this is Dan Avance, Mac Computer Tech, and we'll talk to you later.